The eternal truth teaches you to realize your soul's blueprint by visualizing with power, purpose, and truth. The life you dream of is already waiting for you to remember it. The eternal truth. Introduction. In the depths of ancient wisdom lies a truth so potent, so transformative, that its power has been guarded through the ages. You now hold in your hands not merely words on paper, but a sacred key, one that unlocks the very gates of creation itself. The universe speaks in images, not words. This eternal truth has been whispered in temples, passed down through mystic lineages, and preserved in sacred texts. Yet its simplicity belies its power. What you vividly imagine in the temple of your mind becomes the blueprint for your reality. This is not mere positive thinking or idle daydreaming. It is the divine act of creation itself, the same force that brings forth stars from the cosmic void. When you learn to harness this power, you step into your rightful role as a co-creator with the universe. But heed these words carefully. This knowledge carries both promise and responsibility. Your thoughts are not casual things. They are seeds planted in the fertile soil of infinite possibility. Each image you hold in your mind sends ripples through the fabric of reality. The universe does not distinguish between what you want and what you fear. It responds with equal power to both. You must approach this wisdom with reverence and intention. The ancient ones knew that visualization was not a technique to be casually employed, but a sacred practice that combines directly with the cosmic forces of creation. They understood that the mind's eye is actually the soul's gateway to manifestation. As you journey through these chapters, you will discover how to awaken this dormant power within you. You will learn to see with the eyes of your soul and speak in the language of pure potential. This is the art of divine visualization, the ability to hold an unwavering image of your desired reality with such clarity and conviction that the universe has no choice but to respond. Let these teachings resonate in the depths of your being, for they carry the weight of millennia. You have been drawn to this knowledge because you are ready to remember what your soul has always known. You are a creator, and your imagination is the brush with which you paint your reality. Part 1. The Awakening. Realizing the Divine Blueprint. Chapter 1. The Dream You Were Meant to Remember. In the ancient scrolls there is told a tale of a young man named Walter, who each night dreamed of a magnificent golden city. Its spires reached toward heaven, its streets shimmered with light, and its very air hummed with possibility. Night after night, the vision returned, calling to him with an intensity that left him breathless upon waking. Though he searched maps and traveled far, no earthly city matched the splendor he witnessed in his dreams. The vision that visits your soul with such persistence is no mere fantasy. Like Walter's golden city, it is a glimpse of what already exists in the realm of pure potential, waiting to be brought forth through your recognition and belief. The universe plants these sacred seeds within you, these dreams that feel too magnificent to be real, precisely because they are meant for you to nurture into being. When you visualize, you are not creating something from nothing. You are tuning into the frequency of what already exists in the infinite field of possibility. Your deepest desires are cosmic echoes of your soul's highest destiny, waiting to be remembered and claimed. Years passed, and Walter never forgot his golden city. One day, while pursuing his work as an architect, he found himself sketching buildings that reminded him of his childhood dreams. As his pen moved across paper, he realized with startling clarity that he wasn't just drawing, he was remembering. The city he had dreamed of wasn't waiting to be found, it was waiting to be built. With this awakening, Walter dedicated himself to manifesting his vision. Today, a district of gleaming structures stands as testament to the power of a dream held faithful in one's heart. This truth extends to you. The visions that persist in your mind's eye are not random imaginings, but glimpses of your destiny. They are like stars guiding a ship across vast waters, already existing, already perfect, waiting only for you to chart your course by their light. Now, let us engage in an ancient practice of remembrance. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Allow your mind to drift back to a childhood dream, one that felt too grand, too impossible to speak aloud. Perhaps it was a calling, a vision of yourself, or a world you wished to create. For 10 minutes, sit with this vision. See it not as a distant wish, but as a reality that exists now. Feel its presence, its certainty, its aliveness. Know that this dream was planted within you because it belongs to you. It is part of your soul's sacred blueprint, waiting to be unveiled through your belief and recognition. Chapter 2. The Invisible Ink of Imagination. In the dusty corner of an ancient library, between weathered volumes of forgotten wisdom, Eleanor discovered a small box. Within it lay yellowed papers, letters she had written to the universe as a child. As she unfolded each precious page, memories stirred like leaves in a gentle wind. Her childhood drawings depicted a vast room filled with books, children gathered in circles, and herself, older and wiser, sharing stories that changed lives. With trembling hands, she looked around the library where she had served as guardian for 30 years. The same circular reading nooks, the same warm light streaming through tall windows, the same eager young faces that gathered for her daily storytelling. Every detail matched her childhood imaginings with uncanny precision. You see, imagination is not mere fantasy. It is the divine language through which the universe communicates your destiny. When you imagine with purpose and feeling, you are not creating idle dreams. You are writing instructions in the cosmic ledger. This power was bestowed upon humankind at the dawn of creation, a gift that allows you to shape reality itself. Your imagination is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, between potential and manifestation. When you engage it consciously, you activate the same force that brings spring from winter, butterflies from caterpillars, and mighty oaks from tiny acorns. This is the original creative power, the first light that sparked existence itself. One afternoon, Eleanor's granddaughter Sophie visited the library. Watching the child trace her fingers along book spines, Eleanor shared her discovery of the childhood letters. She taught Sophie to write her own letters to the universe, explaining that imagination was not child's play, but the sacred art of reality crafting. Sophie began writing daily, describing her vision of becoming a renowned artist whose works brought joy to millions. She wrote with such clarity and conviction that her words seemed to shimmer with life. Each morning, she would read her letter aloud, feeling the truth of her vision in every cell of her being. What many dismiss as childish fancy is actually the most powerful force available to humankind. Your imagination is not something to outgrow, but to master. It is the paintbrush with which you color your destiny, the chisel with which you sculpt your reality. Practice. Find a quiet moment and write a letter from your future self. Describe your ideal life using present tense, as if you are already living it. Include every detail that matters to you, your achievements, relationships, daily experiences. Feel the emotion of each word as you write it. Each morning, read this letter aloud, allowing its truth to resonate through your entire being. Let your words become the blueprint that the universe will follow. Chapter 3. The Mirror That Listens. In a secluded mountain cottage, Clifford spent 20 years painting the same scene, a sunlit valley with a stone house among ancient oak trees, morning mist rising from a gentle stream. Each canvas captured the same vista from different angles in varying lights through changing seasons. He painted not from observation, but from a vision that lived in his heart. When you hold an image with such devotion, you speak in the universe's native tongue. The outer world is not deaf to your inner vision. It is a cosmic mirror, reflecting back what you consistently show it. Clifford did not know he was engaged in the highest form of creation. He simply painted what he saw in his mind's eye, again and again, with unwavering clarity. The universe responds not to what you request, but to what you radiate. Your sustained visualization creates a resonance, a vibrational pattern that reality must eventually match. This is not manifestation through force or will, but through harmony and alignment. When you hold an image with certainty and joy, you become a tuning fork, and the universe adjusts its frequency to match yours. One autumn morning, Clifford discovered a real estate listing. The exact valley from his paintings was for sale. The stream, the trees, even the morning mist matched his vision precisely. This was not coincidence, but cosmic law in action. Years later, his daughter Alexandra learned this truth. Each evening she would sit in her garden and visualize herself sharing tea and meaningful conversation with a companion whose face she could not see, but whose presence she could feel. She painted this scene in her mind with the same dedication her father had shown to his valley. Within months, she met someone who matched not just the outer scene she had visualized, but the very essence of the connection she had imagined. The mirror of life reflects not just our thoughts, but the depth of our conviction. You are not asking the universe for change. You are initiating it through the power of your focused imagination. Practice. Stand in front of a mirror each day and visualize your reflection as your future self, already living your desired life. Let your gaze soften as you look beyond the physical form before you, seeing instead the radiant being you are becoming. Feel the subtle shift in your posture, the quiet confidence in your eyes as you embody the essence of your fulfilled desires. This mirror meditation, practiced with devotion, becomes a sacred portal through which you step into your emerging reality. Just as the surface of a still pond reflects the sky above, your mirror will reflect back the divine truth of your transformed self. Chapter 4. The Hidden Language of Images. In the dusty corners of his grandfather's attic, young Harold uncovered an ancient wooden box adorned with intricate carvings. Inside lay 7 brass tokens, each bearing a mysterious symbol that seemed to pulse with hidden meaning. As he touched each one, vivid images flooded his mind, not mere pictures, but living visions that stirred his soul. You must understand that the universal mind communicates not through words, but through the language of symbol and sensation. When you form a picture in your mind, you are not merely daydreaming. You are transmitting a divine instruction to the creative forces that shape reality. Each image you hold becomes a template that the universe strives to fulfill. The symbols Harold discovered were not magical in themselves. They simply awakened the natural power of visualization that sleeps within all beings. This truth became clear when his mother Rachel found him entranced by the tokens. Rather than dismiss them as curiosities, she recognized their deeper purpose. She began creating her own sacred spaces for visualization, transforming the traditional vision board into something far more powerful, a meditation altar where each carefully chosen image was infused with prayer and purpose. You see, the universe responds not to the physical pictures you gather, but to the emotional energy you invest in them. Rachel understood this. She would sit before her altar each morning, allowing each image to fill her with such vivid feeling that her entire being resonated with its reality. She was not asking or hoping. She was declaring through the language of pure vision. A simple picture becomes a portal to manifestation when charged with genuine emotion and unwavering belief. This is why the ancient wisdom keepers used symbols rather than words. They knew that a single potent image, held with devotion, speaks louder to the universe than 1,000 prayers. Practice. Create a single image vision token that symbolizes your greatest desire. Choose this image with careful intention, ensuring it resonates deeply within your soul. It might be a symbol from nature, a geometric shape, or a simple drawing that captures the essence of your aspiration. Place this token where you will see it daily, perhaps on your altar or bedside table. Each morning, sit in quiet contemplation with your chosen image. Let it fill your mind completely, allowing waves of emotion to wash through you as you connect with its meaning. Feel the reality of your desire as though it already exists, letting your entire being vibrate with this truth. Meditate on it daily with deep emotion, knowing that this focused devotion speaks directly to the universal mind. Chapter 5. Desire is Divine Instruction. In the dim light of a Chicago factory, Margaret's nimble fingers guided fabric through the thundering sewing machine, but her mind's eye beheld a different scene. Within her imagination stood an elegant boutique, its windows adorned with gowns of her own design. Each evening, as other workers rushed home, she lingered at her station, sketching designs on scraps of paper. You must understand that desires of this magnitude are not born of mere fancy. They are sacred messages, whispered to your soul by the divine intelligence that guides all life. When a vision persists, returning to you through years or even lifetimes, it carries the weight of destiny. The universe plants these seeds of desire within you as markers of your true path. Margaret's longing for creative freedom was not a rejection of her circumstances, but a recognition of her calling. Though others dismissed her dreams as foolish, she understood what few discover, that persistent desire is divine direction. Decades later, her great-granddaughter Claire discovered a leather-bound journal in her grandmother's attic. Within its chapters, Margaret had documented not just her designs, but her unwavering vision of what could be. As Claire turned each yellowed page, she felt an ancient knowing stir within her own heart. The same creative fire that had burned in Margaret now flickered in her descendant's soul. You see, true desire never dies. It simply waits for the right vessel to carry it forward. Claire recognized in her great-grandmother's journey a reflection of her own unexpressed yearnings. The art supplies she had hidden away, the stories she had never shared. These were not random interests, but inherited wisdom calling to be expressed. When you judge your desires as impractical or selfish, you silence the very voice meant to guide you. Your persistent visions are not accidents or idle fantasies. They are your soul's compass pointing toward your highest expression. Practice. Write down 3 persistent desires that have followed you over the years, and visualize each one as already fulfilled. Let your mind drift naturally to those longings that have whispered to you through the decades, the dreams that refuse to fade despite life's distractions. As you record each desire, close your eyes and allow yourself to experience the joy and satisfaction of its completion. Feel the warmth of accomplishment flow through your body, knowing that these visions are not mere fantasies, but seeds of manifestation already taking root in the fertile soil of possibility. This exercise connects you to the timeless wisdom within, acknowledging that your deepest yearnings are divine appointments with destiny. Chapter 6. Seeing with the Eyes of Faith. In a modest cottage overlooking the sea, Samuel sat in his favorite chair, his unseeing eyes turned toward the window. Though darkness veiled his physical sight, an inner light guided him with remarkable precision. "Storm's coming," he would tell the fishermen. "Wait 3 days before setting sail." Without fail, his words proved true. You possess this same inner sight, though you may have forgotten how to use it. The eyes that see your desired future are not the ones that blink in sunlight. They are the eyes of unwavering faith. Like Samuel, who saw weather patterns through the lens of his soul, you too can perceive the reality you wish to create before it manifests in the physical world. Through years of stillness, Samuel had learned that true vision requires no physical sight. His accuracy came not from studying clouds or reading charts, but from an unshakable connection to universal wisdom. This is the essence of visualization, not straining to picture something, but knowing it with such certainty that doubt cannot enter. A young boy named Thomas, known in the village for questioning everything, began visiting Samuel daily. "How can you see what hasn't happened?" he would ask, his voice heavy with skepticism. Samuel would simply smile and place Thomas's hand over his heart. "This is where sight begins," he would say. "When you trust what you feel here, your eyes will follow." Day by day, Samuel taught Thomas to close his physical eyes and open his spiritual ones. "The universe doesn't need you to see with your eyes," he explained. "It needs you to know with your heart." Gradually, Thomas learned to trust his own inner knowing, and his doubt transformed into faith. You see, visualization is not about forcing yourself to picture every detail perfectly. It is about cultivating such deep certainty that you naturally create space in your life for what you know is coming. Just as Samuel knew the weather patterns without seeing them, you can know your desired reality before it manifests. Practice. Close your eyes and visualize your desire already done, then write a paragraph describing it as if it's already your daily reality. Feel the emotions, sensations, and subtle vibrations of living in this state of completion. Don't strain to see every detail. Instead, allow your inner knowing to guide you into that space of certainty where your desire naturally exists. Write from that place of deep conviction, letting the words flow from your heart rather than your mind. This exercise isn't about crafting perfect prose, but about anchoring yourself in the feeling of already having what you seek. As you write, notice how your body relaxes into this truth, how your breath deepens with acceptance. This written testament becomes a bridge between your current awareness and the reality that awaits your recognition. Chapter 7. The Law That Cannot Break Itself. In a small-town library, Dorothy ran her fingers along the spines of ancient books, searching for a text on modern education methods. As she pulled a weathered volume from the shelf, yellowed papers fluttered to the floor. Picking them up, she discovered handwritten notes describing the law of attraction, their edges crumbling with age. The universe operates through immutable laws, as constant as gravity itself. Just as a stone thrown upward must return to earth, your persistent thoughts and visions must manifest in the physical realm. This is not wishful thinking. It is the foundational principle upon which all creation rests. When you understand that visualization is governed by spiritual law, you cease questioning whether it will work and begin focusing on how precisely you can apply it. The law of attraction responds to the images you hold with unwavering consistency, reflecting back exactly what you maintain in your consciousness. It does not evaluate whether your desires are worthy or judge if you deserve them. It simply mirrors what you show it through your inner vision. Dorothy began testing these principles with methodical precision, as any good teacher would. She visualized small things at first: a blue butterfly, a specific phone call, an unexpected gift. When these manifested with startling accuracy, she expanded her vision to larger desires. Yet weeks passed without results, leading her to question the process. Then one morning, while reviewing her manifestation journal, Dorothy noticed a pattern. On days filled with doubt, synchronicities ceased. On days of unwavering faith, doors opened effortlessly. The revelation struck her. Her doubt was not merely a passive state of mind, but an active force blocking her manifestations. This truth mirrors your own journey with the law. When results seem delayed, examine not the law itself, but your consistency in holding the vision. Like Dorothy, you may discover that periods of apparent failure coincide precisely with moments of wavering faith. Practice. Choose one desire, something meaningful yet achievable, and dedicate yourself to visualizing it with crystal clarity each day at the same time for 7 days. Make this your sacred appointment with the universe. Record every synchronicity, no matter how small, in your manifestation journal. Note not just the events themselves, but your emotional state and level of faith when they occurred. This deliberate tracking will reveal patterns in how your consciousness shapes reality. Through this focused practice, you'll witness firsthand how your unwavering belief opens pathways that seemed impossible before. Chapter 8. Feel it first, then see it. In the vibrant heart of New Orleans, where music flows like water through the streets, Howard sat at his piano in an empty jazz club. Though only the bartender and a few early patrons were present, his fingers danced across the keys as if playing for a packed house at Carnegie Hall. His eyes closed, a smile of pure joy illuminating his face. He was already experiencing the success he envisioned. You must understand that visualization without emotion is like a lamp without electricity. The structure exists, but no light shines forth. The universe responds not to the pictures in your mind alone, but to the feeling tone that accompanies them. This is the hidden key that transforms mere daydreaming into active creation. When you hold a vision of your desired future, you must simultaneously generate the exact emotional frequency that reality would produce. Your feelings are the language the universe understands most clearly. They are the bridge between your inner world and the outer manifestation. Think of emotion as the spiritual substance from which your reality is molded. Just as Howard played each note with the confidence and joy of an acclaimed musician long before recognition arrived, you must learn to feel your way into your desired state of being. This is not pretense. It is spiritual practice of the highest order. In the French Quarter, a young woman named Grace sought Howard's guidance, frustrated that her own musical career remained stagnant despite endless practice. Howard taught her a lesson that transcended music. Before you touch the keys, feel the applause in your heart. Let your soul dance with success before your fingers move. Grace began practicing with this new understanding. Each morning, before playing a single note, she would sit quietly, allowing waves of joy and gratitude to wash over her, as though her dreams had already manifested. Within months, opportunities began appearing that had previously seemed impossible. Your manifestations flow not from a place of desperate wanting, but from a state of emotional completion. When you consistently match the feeling tone of your desire, living as though it is already yours, you align with its frequency in the universal field. This is not about fooling yourself, but about understanding the true nature of creation. Feeling precedes form. Before each visualization session, spend 5 minutes generating the exact emotion you'd feel if your desire were already manifest. Let this feeling permeate every cell of your being. Breathe deeply and allow yourself to sink into genuine gratitude, joy, or whatever positive emotion aligns with your vision. This preparation step is crucial. It transforms your visualization from mere daydreaming into a powerful act of creation. As you cultivate these feelings with growing authenticity, you'll find your manifestations accelerating, for you are operating in harmony with universal law. Chapter 9. The Still Canvas Within. Along the misty shores of Maine, where waves whisper ancient secrets to the shore, Esther walked each morning as the sun painted the sky in gentle hues. Though her husband had passed 3 years prior, she had discovered something remarkable in her solitary communion with nature. When the outer world grew quiet, her inner vision grew strong. You must understand that true visualization requires a still mind. Just as a lake must be undisturbed to reflect the stars clearly, your consciousness must settle into silence before it can properly receive and project your desires. In the chaos of daily life, your creative power becomes diluted, scattered across 1,000 passing thoughts. The universe speaks in whispers, not shouts. When you quiet your mind, these whispers become clear instructions, and your visions take on a crystalline quality that the divine can easily read and reflect. This is not merely about finding peace. It is about creating the optimal conditions for spiritual transmission. Through her daily walks, Esther discovered that each step in silence brought her closer to clarity. Her visions, once clouded by grief and worry, began to shine with newfound brilliance. The universe responded not to her longing, but to the pure, uncluttered images she held in her quieted mind. One autumn morning, as leaves danced on the cool breeze, Esther discovered an ancient breathing rhythm that changed everything. Sitting on her favorite rock by the shore, she noticed how her breath naturally aligned with the waves, in, out, rise, fall. This simple pattern became her gateway to deeper stillness, and in that stillness, her visualization practice transformed. You see, your mind is like an artist's studio. When cluttered with the debris of daily concerns, there is no space to create. But in silence, you clear the workspace. Each breath sweeps away mental dust, creating room for your visions to take shape with perfect clarity. Practice. Before each visualization session, find absolute quiet. For 10 minutes, focus solely on your breath. Let each inhale and exhale gently brush away stray thoughts, creating a clean canvas for your creative power. Only when your mind is still should you begin to paint your desires upon the universe. In this sacred space of silence, you will discover that your thoughts become crystal clear, like pure water reflecting the light of truth. Make this preparation as much a part of your practice as the visualization itself, for it is in these moments of perfect stillness that you align most deeply with the infinite wisdom of the universe. Just as an artist would never paint on a dusty canvas, you must not project your visions onto a cluttered mind. Chapter 10. The Doorway of Willingness. In the bustling halls of St. Mary's Hospital, where life and death danced their eternal dance, Mabel found herself drawn to a thin leather book left behind by a patient who had made an inexplicable recovery. The book spoke of visualization not as a technique, but as a sacred dialogue with the universe. You need not begin this journey with perfect faith. The universe asks only for your willingness to open the door. Like Mabel, who initially scoffed at such notions, you may find yourself caught between doubt and possibility. This is the perfect place to begin. The power of visualization flows not from unwavering belief, but from a heart willing to surrender to greater wisdom. When you release the need for certainty, you create space for magic to enter. Your doubts do not disqualify you from this practice. They merely show you where your old beliefs are ready to transform. As Mabel began her tentative practice, visualizing health for her patients while acknowledging her skepticism, something shifted. Small coincidences appeared. Patients improving unexpectedly. Colleagues mentioning books about healing energy. A workshop on alternative medicine opening next door to her apartment. One evening, as she sat with an elderly patient who had been given mere days to live, Mabel decided to try again. Despite her lingering doubts, she closed her eyes and held an image of vibrant health. She whispered, "I am willing to believe in possibility." The next morning, the patient's vital signs had mysteriously stabilized. The universe does not demand perfection from you. It simply awaits your willingness to participate in the dance of creation. Each small act of faith, however uncertain, sends ripples through the fabric of reality. Your trembling steps forward are more powerful than any confident stride taken without heart. Remember that doubt is not your enemy. It is merely the shadow cast by approaching light. Let it be present without letting it rule you. Like Mabel, you need only whisper, "I am willing," to set profound forces in motion. Practice. Visualize your greatest desire once today, even if doubt is present. Then say aloud, "I am willing." Let the words flow naturally without forcing conviction. Feel how this simple declaration creates a subtle shift within you. You need not banish all uncertainty before taking this step. Like a seed pushing through soil toward distant sunlight, your willingness alone sets profound forces in motion. This practice, though brief, opens channels through which universal energy can flow. Trust that your sincere declaration of willingness, however quiet or uncertain, resonates through the infinite field of possibility. Part 2. The Ritual. Practicing Sacred Visualization. Chapter 11. The Sacred Hour of Visioning. In a small farming community where time moved to nature's rhythm, Beatrice rose each morning before the first rays touched the horizon. In the hushed moments between night and day, she would sit by her eastern window, close her eyes, and let her visions dance in the pre-dawn stillness. You possess within you an innate understanding of universal timing, a wisdom that recognizes certain moments hold greater power than others. The ancient ones knew this truth. The veils between worlds grow thin at dawn and dusk, when one phase of existence gently yields to another. These transition hours, these sacred thresholds, amplify the potency of your inner sight. As the world holds its breath between darkness and light, your visualizations pierce the cosmic fabric with heightened clarity. The universe listens more intently during these liminal spaces, when the mundane world has not yet asserted its dominance over consciousness. In the quiet sanctuary of dawn, before the world's chaos drowns out the whispers of infinity, your mind achieves a natural state of receptivity. This is why the wise ones of every tradition rose before the sun. They understood that morning's first light carries the pure energy of beginning, of possibility, of creation itself. When Sarah, Beatrice's closest friend, learned of this practice, she chose the evening hours for her visualizations. As twilight painted the sky in gentle hues, she would envision financial abundance with crystalline clarity. Within weeks, an unexpected inheritance arrived, a gift from a distant relative she had never met. The timing of your visualization practice transcends mere routine or convenience. It taps into the cosmic currents that flow through existence, carrying your intentions on their eternal tides. Dawn and dusk serve as natural gateways, moments when the boundary between thought and manifestation grows permeable. This is not mystical superstition, but rather an alignment with the universe's own breathing, the eternal rhythm of expansion and contraction, giving and receiving, manifesting and dissolving. When you synchronize your practice with these natural cycles, you participate in the grand dance of creation itself. Practice. For the next 3 days, wake 20 minutes before sunrise, sit in silence, and visualize one specific desire in full detail. Let the pre-dawn stillness envelop you as you align with nature's awakening energies. In these precious moments when night yields to day, your mind is most receptive to the universe's creative forces. Picture your desire with crystal clarity. See it, feel it, know it as an inevitability already unfolding. This is not mere imagination, but rather a sacred act of co-creation with the infinite intelligence that surrounds you. Let every detail of your vision become vivid and alive within your mind's eye. Feel the textures, Hear the sounds. Breathe in the essence of your desire as though it exists here and now. For in the realm of pure potential where all things begin, your focused thought becomes the seed from which manifestation grows. The universe responds not to half-formed wishes, but to complete visions held with unwavering certainty. Chapter 12. The Altar of Your Mind. In the corner of a modest apartment, Ruth carved out a small space between her dresser and window. Each morning she would light a simple candle, close her eyes, and hold one pure image in her mind, a vision of the life she yearned to create for herself and her daughter. You stand now at the threshold of understanding a truth that has shaped the destinies of those who came before. Your mind is a temple, and the images you allow within its walls become your reality. Just as the ancients designated sacred spaces for communion with the divine, you must consecrate a sanctuary within your consciousness where only the highest visions may dwell. The modern world floods your inner temple with countless images, fears, doubts, worries that scatter your creative force like dust in the wind. Yet when you choose to treat your mind as hallowed ground, protecting it from the mundane and maintaining only those visions aligned with your highest purpose, the universe responds with swift precision. Within weeks of establishing her inner altar, Ruth noticed subtle shifts. Opportunities emerged that matched her carefully guarded vision. A promotion materialized at work. A perfect home became available in the neighborhood she had visualized. The outer world began arranging itself to mirror the sanctified image she held within. This is the forgotten art of mental consecration, the practice of treating your chosen vision with the reverence of a holy relic. When you elevate one image to sacred status, guarding it from the profane thoughts that seek to diminish its power, you activate an ancient law. That which is honored in consciousness must manifest in form. Ruth's transformation came not from the complexity of her practice, but from its purity. She understood that power lies not in the quantity of your visions, but in their quality, in the devotion with which you maintain them. By creating a dedicated space, both physical and mental, she demonstrated to the universe the seriousness of her intent. You, too, possess this ability to sanctify your inner vision. When you treat your chosen image as sacred, returning to it with the dedication of a priest tending an eternal flame, you signal to the cosmic forces that this vision is worthy of manifestation. Practice. Create a mental altar by selecting one image to hold sacred, a vision that embodies your deepest desires and highest aspirations. Return to it 3 times daily with the reverence of a devoted pilgrim approaching a holy shrine. Guard this sacred image from all mental noise and doubt, letting no competing thoughts dilute its purity. In these moments of communion with your chosen vision, allow yourself to feel its reality with every fiber of your being. Like a monk tending a sacred flame, your dedication to this practice signals to the universe your unwavering commitment to manifesting this divine image in your physical reality. Chapter 13. Symbols, Signs, and Sacred Geometry. In the quiet hours before dawn, Franklin sat at his drafting table, his hands moving with unusual certainty. Into his architectural designs, he wove the ancient symbol of the spiral, nature's perfect form. What began as intuitive inspiration soon transformed his entire approach to creation. You see, the universe speaks first in symbol, shape, and form. These are the original languages of creation, predating all written words. When Franklin discovered this truth, his work transcended mere building design. It became a channel for universal energy. The spiral he drew was more than decoration. It was a cosmic signature, a pattern that echoes through galaxies and seashells alike. As Franklin incorporated these timeless forms, the golden ratio, sacred geometries, ancient symbols of abundance, his designs began attracting clients who sensed something deeper in his work, though they couldn't explain why. The language of symbols bypasses your conscious mind and speaks directly to the infinite intelligence that shapes reality. This is why the great temples and sacred spaces of old were built using these divine proportions. They were creating instruments of manifestation, not just places of worship. David, Franklin's apprentice, observed this transformation with wonder. One evening, inspired by his mentor's success, he began sketching his dream home. Into every corner, he wove the symbol of the seed, representing growth and potential. He drew the triangle of manifestation in the foundation and crowned his design with the circle of completion. Within 3 months, while walking in a neighborhood he'd always loved, David noticed a for sale sign on a plot of land. The property's dimensions and natural features matched his symbolic sketch with uncanny precision. The universe recognizes these ancient forms because they are its own signature. When you work with symbols in your visualization practice, you are speaking the native tongue of creation. These forms act as bridges between your inner vision and the outer world, anchoring your intentions into physical reality with remarkable precision. Practice. Choose or create a symbol that represents your greatest desire. Let this symbol emerge naturally from your inner wisdom, allowing your intuition to guide your hand. It may be a sacred geometric shape, an ancient sigil, or a personal emblem that resonates deeply with your soul's calling. Draw this symbol daily with reverent attention, treating each stroke as a sacred act of creation. As you trace its form, focus on your intention with unwavering clarity, feeling the energy of manifestation flowing through you and into the symbol. This practice aligns your consciousness with the universal language of symbols, creating a bridge between your deepest desires and the infinite potential of the universe. Chapter 14. The Hidden Script Behind What You See. In the golden age of silent film, Dolores stood before her mirror each morning, rehearsing not just her roles, but her destiny. Through the lens of her imagination, she saw herself not as she was, but as she wished to become. Each gesture, each expression she practiced, became more than preparation. It was programming for her future. You hold within you this same power of mental rehearsal. Every image you maintain in your mind becomes a script that the universe faithfully follows. Just as Dolores discovered, your inner theater shapes your outer reality with perfect precision. When you visualize, you are not merely daydreaming. You are encoding instructions into the fabric of creation. Your mental images become the blueprint that reality follows, directing not only your actions, but the very circumstances that flow into your life. For years, Dolores unknowingly replayed scenes of struggle in her mind, casting herself as the tragic heroine. Her career reflected this inner script with uncanny accuracy, until one wise director helped her see the power she wielded. "Your mind," he told her, "is the greatest director of all." That night, Dolores burned her old mental scripts. she began visualizing scenes of triumph, of standing ovations, of joy that needed no words to express itself. Within months, her career transformed as if guided by an unseen hand. The universe had simply followed her new direction. You, too, are both the director and the star of your life's production. The images you hold become the scenes you live. This is not metaphor. It is law. Each mental rehearsal shapes your energy, your choices, and the opportunities that appear before you. The truth that Dolores discovered remains unchanged. Your mental stage is sacred ground. What you perform there becomes your reality. Choose your inner scenes with the same care a director chooses their shots, for each one carries the power to shape your story. Practice. Identify one recurring mental image or scene that no longer serves your highest good. It may be a fear you replay, a past regret you revisit, or a limitation you've accepted as truth. Now, with the power of your divine imagination, create a new scene that embodies what you truly desire. See it with crystal clarity. Feel it with every fiber of your being. For the next 7 days, set aside 5 minutes daily to rehearse this new scene in your mind's theater. Let it become as familiar as an old friend, as natural as breathing. Watch how the universe begins to mirror your inner performance, bringing your cherished vision into physical form. Remember, you are the casting director of your consciousness. Choose your players wisely, for they will become the cast of your manifested reality. Chapter 15. The Role of Ritual in Manifestation. In a small town where mornings whispered of ancient mysteries, Luther walked his postal route with a secret. Each dawn, before sorting a single letter, he performed a sacred ritual passed down by his grandmother, a ritual that would transform his entire existence. You see, Luther understood what many have forgotten. Ritual is not mere repetition, but a doorway through which cosmic forces flow. Each morning, as the world still slept, he would light a single candle, face the rising sun, and hold in his mind's eye the life he wished to create. This wasn't prayer or meditation as commonly understood. It was an act of spiritual claiming. The universe responds not to sporadic wishes, but to rhythmic certainty. When you create a ritual around your visualization, you are establishing a cosmic appointment, a designated time and space where your inner vision meets universal power. This meeting point becomes sacred through consistency, not complexity. Luther's neighbor, Sarah, noticed the subtle glow from his window each morning. When she finally asked about it, he shared his practice with her. But being one who preferred evenings, she created her own ritual as the sun set. She would stand in her garden, watching the sky turn to amber, and visualize with the same dedicated rhythm. Soon, her dreams began showing her glimpses of future events that would later unfold exactly as she had seen them. You must understand, ritual is not about the actions themselves, but about creating a consistent channel through which your visualization can flow unimpeded. It is about establishing a sacred rhythm that the universe can recognize and respond to. When you perform the same visualization ritual daily, you are doing more than forming a habit. You are carving a groove in the fabric of reality itself. This groove becomes a channel through which manifestation flows more easily, more naturally. Luther's morning ritual was simple. Light a candle, breathe deeply 3 times, and visualize his desired reality for exactly 7 minutes. Yet this simplicity held power precisely because it was unwavering, unchanged by mood or circumstance. The universe honors such dedication with manifestation. Practice. Design a personal visualization ritual, same time, same place, same sequence, and commit to it daily for 1 week. Choose a quiet corner of your home where you won't be disturbed, and select a meaningful object, perhaps a crystal, a candle, or a cherished photograph, to serve as your focal point. Keep your ritual simple yet purposeful, like Luther's. You might begin with 3 deep breaths, speak a short affirmation, then spend 5 to 7 minutes in focused visualization of your deepest desires. The power lies not in the complexity of your practice, but in its unwavering consistency. Mark your chosen time in your calendar as sacred, treating it with the same reverence you would give to meeting a wise teacher or spiritual guide. For it is in this daily dedication that you will forge your own groove in the universe's fabric, creating a direct channel for manifestation to flow into your life. Chapter 16. When the Vision Fights Back. In the heart of an industrial district where the scent of motor oil mingled with dreams of prosperity, worked Calvin, a skilled mechanic whose hands could diagnose any engine's ailment. Yet within his heart stirred a deeper diagnosis, one that would unveil the hidden mechanics of manifestation itself. You hold within you both light and shadow, and when you begin to shine your brightest vision, the shadows must naturally rise to meet it. This is the law of inner balance, as ancient as time itself. Calvin discovered this truth one autumn morning while performing his daily visualization of abundance. As he pictured himself in a state of complete financial freedom, waves of guilt crashed through his consciousness. Memories of his father's bankruptcy, his mother's endless sacrifices, his childhood shame of wearing hand-me-downs. These shadows rising from the depths of your being are not obstacles. They are opportunities for liberation. Every powerful vision acts as a spiritual magnet, drawing to the surface any buried beliefs that require healing. This is not resistance, it is purification. In time, Calvin learned to greet these emerging shadows not with fear but with understanding. When memories of lack would surface during his visualization practice, he began to simply observe them, like watching old photographs fade in the sun. He discovered that acknowledging these thoughts while maintaining his vision created a powerful alchemy of transformation. The universe has gifted you this wisdom. The stronger your vision, the more it will illuminate what needs to be released. Just as Calvin found, your shadows emerged not to stop you, but to be transformed by the light of your new awareness. One day, while working beneath a luxury car he once thought beyond his reach, Calvin felt a familiar pang of unworthiness rise up. But this time, instead of letting it dim his vision, he simply whispered, "I release this old story, and I choose my vision." In that moment, something shifted, not in his circumstances, but in his energy field. He had learned to hold both his highest vision and his deepest fears in the same space, allowing one to naturally dissolve the other. Remember, when darkness rises to meet your light, it comes not as your enemy, but as your liberator. Each shadow that emerges carries with it the potential for deeper alignment with your true power. Practice. After each visualization, journal any discomfort or limiting belief that arises. Notice how these shadows emerge not to discourage you, but to be transformed. As you document each fear or doubt, speak aloud with quiet authority, I release this, and I choose the vision. Let these words become a sacred ritual, one that acknowledges both your current reality and your chosen path forward. Remember that each time you practice this release, you strengthen your ability to hold space for both your highest aspirations and your deepest uncertainties, allowing divine wisdom to transmute one into the other. Chapter 17. Purify to clarify. In a small town where autumn leaves danced like memories through quiet streets, Agnes sat at her piano, her fingers hovering above keys that had taught generations of children. Yet the most important lesson she would ever teach began not with music, but with silence. You must understand that your mind is like a sacred vessel. What you allow to fill, it shapes what you can create. For 40 years, Agnes had filled her vessel with worries, criticisms, and fears. Her thoughts had become a cluttered attic of what-ifs and if-onlys, leaving no room for the pure light of vision to enter. Then one morning, as sunlight streamed through her dusty windows, Agnes began what she called her mental cleanse. Each day, she would select one negative thought pattern and consciously release it. She forgave old grudges, deleted social media apps that stirred anxiety, and cleared her home of objects that held painful memories. As her mental space cleared, something remarkable occurred. Her dreams became vivid prophecies, and synchronicities began appearing like musical notes in perfect harmony. The universe speaks most clearly through a clean channel. When your mind is clouded with mental static, old regrets, digital noise, physical clutter, your vision becomes like a radio signal fighting through interference. Yet when you clear this static, your inner sight strengthens naturally, as though a veil has been lifted from your spiritual eyes. Agnes's granddaughter, Sarah, witnessing this transformation, began her own cleansing ritual. Struggling with chronic fatigue, she realized her mind had become a storage room of health anxieties. Following her grandmother's example, she began clearing away medical websites, worry-filled journals, and the constant stream of symptom checking that had consumed her days. Within months, her energy returned, not just through physical healing, but through the power of uncluttered vision. Your ability to visualize with power depends not on force, but on clarity. Like a mirror covered in dust cannot reflect clearly, a mind cluttered with mental debris cannot transmit pure vision to the universal mind. Each thought you release creates space for divine light to enter. Each day, release one thought, habit, or object that clouds your mind. Then visualize your desire with renewed clarity. Begin with small steps. Delete an unnecessary app that distracts you. Let go of a worry that serves no purpose, or remove a physical item that brings negative memories. As you create this sacred space within your consciousness, you will find your manifestations flowing with greater ease and precision. Remember, the universal mind responds not to the quantity of your thoughts, but to their crystalline purity. Chapter 18. Visualize from completion, not lack. In the harsh years when dust claimed the heartland, a truth emerged as precious as rain itself. Let me share with you the tale of Milton, whose understanding of vision's power transformed barren earth into fertile ground. Milton stood each morning before his parched fields, yet in his mind's eye he saw something different. While others gazed upon cracked earth with despair, he held an unwavering image of abundance. He did not pray for rain. He gave thanks for the moisture already present. He did not hope for crops. He walked his land as though through fields already green with life. This is the sacred key that most overlook. The universe responds not to what you need, but to what you are. When you visualize from a place of lack, saying, "I want," or "I need," you transmit the very frequency of absence. But when you stand in the feeling of already having, you align with the vibration of abundance itself. Within weeks, clouds gathered over Milton's farm first, blessing his soil while neighboring fields remained dry. The rain followed the path of his vision, drawn to the magnetic power of his certainty. Years later, Milton's great-niece, Catherine, discovered this truth anew. Rather than yearning for her dream home, she lived as though she already possessed it. She would walk through her small apartment saying, "I love my spacious kitchen," and "the morning light in my garden is beautiful." She felt the emotions of ownership before the physical manifestation appeared. Within months, through a series of unexpected events, the exact home she had been visualizing became available at a price she could afford. The universe had responded not to her wish, but to her unwavering knowing. This reveals the most vital principle of visualization. You must step into the energy of fulfillment before fulfillment can step into your reality. Your visions must emerge not from the voice of wanting, but from the voice of having. The difference is subtle, yet profound. It is the gap between begging and commanding, between hoping and knowing. For the next 3 days, immerse yourself completely in the consciousness of already possessing everything you desire. Speak only in the present tense, using powerful "I am" and "I have" statements that affirm your current reality. Notice how different it feels to say, "I am wealthy," versus "I will be wealthy," or "I have my perfect home," versus "I want my perfect home." Let no future-oriented language slip into your thoughts or speech. This deliberate practice of owning your desires in the present moment aligns your energy with the frequency of fulfillment, allowing the universe to respond to your command rather than your wish. When doubt arises, simply return to the knowing that everything you seek already exists in the spiritual realm, waiting for your recognition of its presence. Chapter 19. The Living Vision. In the quietude of dawn, when the world still whispers its ancient secrets, you will discover a truth known to mystics throughout time. Sound, breath, and light are the original tools of creation. Pearl, who played the church organ in a small mountain chapel, understood this instinctively. Each morning before sunrise, she would sit in meditation, allowing a sacred tone to emerge from deep within. This was no ordinary prayer. It was a sonic painting of her deepest vision, carried on waves of pure vibration. The universe speaks not just through images, but through frequency. When you align breath, sound, and inner sight, you tap into the original language of creation. Pearl discovered that as she chanted her vision prayer, synchronicities began appearing with startling precision. Opportunities, resources, and divine alignments manifested as if summoned by the very frequency of her voice. The ancient ones knew this secret well. Sound creates form. Breath carries power. Light transmutes reality. These are not mere metaphors. They are technologies of consciousness, tools that amplify your creative force. When Pearl shared this wisdom with Sarah, her young choir student, something remarkable unfolded. Sarah, who dreamed of studying music abroad, began incorporating a simple humming practice into her visualization. As she breathed deeply and rhythmically, allowing a gentle tone to resonate through her body, she entered altered states of consciousness where her vision became extraordinarily vivid. Within months, an unexpected scholarship materialized. You see, when you combine these three elements, sound vibration, conscious breath, and inner light, you create a field of manifestation far more potent than visualization alone. The breath becomes a bridge between worlds. Sound becomes a carrier wave for intention. Light becomes the substance of creation itself. This is not modern innovation, but ancient remembering. The masters of every tradition understood that creation requires more than mental pictures. It requires the full engagement of your creative essence through sacred sound, divine breath, and inner illumination. Practice. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed. Begin your visualization as usual, but now incorporate these three elements. First, allow a natural, gentle hum to emerge from your throat, any tone that feels right. Next, establish a slow, deep breathing rhythm that feels like waves of energy. Finally, as you hold your vision, imagine it surrounded by expanding golden light. Maintain this trinity of practice for 5 to 10 minutes, allowing sound, breath, and light to weave together naturally. Feel how these three elements, the sacred vibration of your voice, the divine current of your breath, and the illuminating power of golden light, merge into a single force of creation. Your vision will begin to take on new power, anchored in the original forces of creation that have moved through mystics and masters since time immemorial. Trust in this process, for you are working with the same creative energies that have shaped worlds and transformed lives throughout the ages. Chapter 20. Guard the Gate of Vision. In the timeless pursuit of mastery over mind and manifestation, you will encounter a truth both simple and profound. Your mental diet shapes your spiritual power. Vernon, who edited the city's largest newspaper, spent his days immersed in an endless stream of headlines, scandals, and worldly concerns. Each morning, he would arrive at his desk, surrounded by reports of chaos and conflict. Yet something within him began to stir, a recognition that this constant consumption of discord was dimming his inner light. As guardian of the printed word, Vernon noticed how stories of fear and drama would linger in his consciousness, creating static that interfered with his ability to hold clear, positive visions. The more he absorbed the world's chaos, the harder it became to maintain the pristine mental pictures he sought to manifest. Your mind is a sacred vessel. Each thought you entertain, each story you absorb, leaves an energetic imprint. When you fill this vessel with discord, doubt, and darkness, you dilute the pure frequency of your creative power. The universe responds not to your wishes, but to the clearest signal you transmit. This wisdom transformed when James, Vernon's young apprentice, embarked on a 7-day vision fast. For 1 week, he abstained from all news, gossip, and negative conversation. In this self-imposed sanctuary of silence, something extraordinary emerged, a clarity of mind so pristine that his visualizations took on new life. His inner eye, no longer clouded by the world's static, began to transmit with remarkable precision. The truth reveals itself. Your creative power flows most purely through a mind uncluttered by lower vibrations. Each negative thought, each fearful story, Each moment of gossip acts as interference, distorting the sacred frequency of your vision. Practice. For one day, avoid all negative inputs: TV, news, gossip, social media feeds, and draining conversations. Instead, create a sanctuary of positive energy around yourself. Spend 15 minutes in quiet solitude, reinforcing your chosen vision with crystal clarity. Let your mind become like still water, reflecting only that which you wish to manifest. As you practice this temporary withdrawal from the world's chaos, notice how your inner vision strengthens, how your creative power flows more freely through the cleansed channels of your consciousness. Feel how each hour of intentional peace amplifies your manifesting ability, like a radio finely tuned to the perfect frequency. As evening falls, record in your journal the profound shifts you experienced, the enhanced clarity, the deeper sense of purpose, the magnetic pull toward your desires. This exercise, though brief, offers a glimpse of your natural state when freed from discord's heavy chains. Let it serve as a template for crafting more permanent boundaries around your sacred creative space. Part 3. The Mastery. Becoming the Vision that Commands Reality. Chapter 21. You are the vision made flesh. In the sacred dance between vision and reality, there exists a moment when imagination transforms into being. This truth unfolds through the story of Loretta, whose understanding of creative power reached beyond mere mental pictures. Each morning, Loretta would arrive at the theater hours before the other performers. In the empty dressing room, she would sit at the lead actress's vanity, not as an understudy dreaming of greatness, but as someone who had already claimed her destined role. She carried herself with the quiet confidence of a star, spoke with the authority of the leading lady, and maintained the discipline of a principled performer. The universe responds not to what you wish to become, but to what you are being in each moment. When you embody your vision, when you move, breathe, and live as though it is already manifest, you transcend the gap between desire and fulfillment. This truth echoed through Loretta's sister Catherine's journey. Yearning for a life in Paris, Catherine began living as though she had already made the transition. She learned to prepare authentic French meals, adopted European customs, and arranged her apartment like a Parisian flat. Within months, an unexpected job offer arrived from France. Your creative power reaches its zenith, not when you perfect the art of visualization, but when you dissolve the boundary between the one who visualizes and that which is visualized. You are not separate from your vision. You are its living expression. The ancient mystics understood this profound truth. Transformation occurs not through endless wishing, but through becoming. When you embody your vision with such completeness that you can no longer distinguish between what is and what will be, the universe simply adjusts reality to match your frequency. Practice. For one full day, embody your vision with such completeness that every action flows from that reality. Dress exactly as your future self would dress. Speak with the confidence and wisdom of one who has already achieved their dreams. Walk with the grace and purpose that reflects your destined path, and make each decision, no matter how small, from the consciousness of having already arrived at your desired state. Let your entire being radiate the frequency of your vision fulfilled, for in doing so, you collapse the illusory gap between what is and what shall be. This is not mere pretense. It is the sacred art of becoming. Chapter 22. When the universe pauses to prepare the miracle. In the depths of time there exists a sacred rhythm, a divine orchestration that moves with perfect precision. Through the story of Eugene, you shall discover why patience is not a test, but a blessing. Eugene returned from war carrying wounds both visible and hidden. Each morning he would sit in his small garden, visualizing wholeness with unwavering dedication. Yet months passed, and his pain persisted. The vision seemed to mock him until one autumn morning, when everything shifted. The universe operates not by human calendars, but through invisible seasons of preparation. What appears as delay is often divine alignment. Each moment of waiting serves a higher purpose that your earthly mind cannot yet comprehend. When Eugene finally experienced his breakthrough, he understood that those months of seeming silence were actually filled with subtle transformations. His body was quietly rebuilding, his spirit was secretly strengthening, and his soul was silently preparing for the magnitude of healing that would come. This truth echoes in the story of Sarah, a nurse who tended to Eugene during his recovery. For 7 years, she held a vision of meeting her soulmate. The vision was clear, yet time stretched on without result. What she did not realize was that the universe was first leading her to the most important love of all, self-love. Through her patient waiting, Sarah discovered that the very qualities she sought in another were blossoming within herself. The delay was not a denial. It was a divine preparation, ensuring she would be ready for the love that eventually arrived. You see, the space between your vision and its manifestation is not empty. It is filled with sacred preparation. Like a seed beneath the soil, much occurs before the first green shoot breaks through. Your task is not to question the timing, but to trust the wisdom of the universal process. Practice. Take a moment now to close your eyes and visualize your deepest desire as though it is already in motion, orchestrating itself in ways you cannot yet see. Picture the universal forces weaving together the perfect circumstances, aligning people, opportunities, and divine timing on your behalf. Then, in your spiritual journal, write down 3 specific ways this seeming delay may actually be working in your favor, how it might be arranging circumstances more beautifully than you could have planned. Remember, what appears as waiting is often the universe's way of perfecting your blessing. Trust that every moment of preparation serves a sacred purpose in the fulfillment of your vision. Chapter 23. Dismantling the Illusion of Reality. In a modest apartment on the edge of town, Sylvia dusted the same shelves she had cleaned for 20 years. Each morning, she would pass elegant homes, imagining herself living within their walls. Yet unlike idle daydreams, Sylvia began to hold these visions with unwavering certainty. You must understand that what you call facts are merely shadows cast by yesterday's thoughts. Sylvia's position as a housekeeper was not an immutable truth. It was simply the manifestation of beliefs she had long accepted. As she began to challenge these apparent certainties, the universe responded with subtle shifts. The power to reshape reality lies not in fighting what is, but in calmly claiming what could be. When you declare a new truth in the face of contrary evidence, you initiate a sacred rebellion against limitation. Your inner vision holds more authority than any outer circumstance. In the quiet hours before dawn, Sylvia would sit at her small table and write detailed accounts of her new life as though it were already true. She spoke of her successful business, her beautiful home, her abundant resources, not as wishes, but as present facts. The universe, ever faithful to your deepest convictions, began to rearrange itself around her new self-image. Across town, Sylvia's friend Maria had spent years believing her failed business ventures defined her future, yet watching Sylvia's transformation awakened something within her. Maria began crafting a new story, one where past setbacks were merely preparation for coming success. Within months, opportunities appeared that seemed to validate her revised self-image. What you perceive as unchangeable circumstances are simply thoughts that have been believed long enough to take form. Every fact in your life is subject to revision when you dare to imagine differently. The outer world has no choice but to reflect your inner certainty. Practice. Identify one unshakable fact in your life and write a new vision that directly contradicts it. Then visualize it with bold emotion. Let this vision fill your entire being until you feel its reality in every cell. Hold this new truth before you like a blazing torch, allowing its light to illuminate pathways you previously thought impossible. Remember, what appears fixed is merely waiting for your consciousness to reshape it. Do this practice daily and watch as the universe begins to mirror your deepened conviction. Chapter 24. Walk the vision even when the world resists. In the dimly lit corners of a New Orleans jazz club where smoke curled like dreams deferred, a young poet named Darnell held visions that transcended his time. Each night he would take the stage and speak his truth as though segregation were already a fading memory. You must understand that your vision will be tested. The world may present you with countless reasons why your dreams cannot manifest, but these are merely temporary conditions, not eternal truths. When Darnell spoke his poems of freedom and success, many laughed, yet he continued to see himself as already accomplished, already free, already celebrated. The universe responds not to the limitations others place upon you, but to the unwavering image you hold within. Each time you maintain your vision in the face of contradiction, you strengthen its magnetic power. Darnell wrote and performed as though already speaking to packed houses across the country, even when his audience was sparse and hostile. Your consistency in holding a vision, especially when circumstances seem immovable, is what bends reality to match your inner truth. Years later, Darnell's poetry would indeed echo through grand halls, his words inspiring generations. But the true miracle was not in the eventual success. It was in his refusal to dim his inner light, even when darkness pressed in from all sides. Decades later, his grandson Thomas stood before an empty storefront, seeing not the boarded windows, but the thriving business center it would become. With nothing but inherited wisdom and an unshakable vision, he began moving as though his success were already secured. Like his grandfather before him, Thomas understood that waiting for conditions to be perfect meant waiting forever. You see, the most powerful creators do not wait for permission or proof. They act from the truth they hold within, knowing that external reality must eventually conform to their inner certainty. When Thomas signed the lease with barely enough for the first month's rent, he was not being reckless. He was being faithful to his vision. Practice. Write down 3 bold actions your future self would take, and do one of them this week. Let these actions reflect the person you are becoming, not who you have been. Remember, Your future self already possesses the confidence and capability you seek. By acting as though you are already that person, you collapse time and bring that reality into the present moment. Choose actions that make your heart race a little, that stretch your comfort zone. When you take that first courageous step, you demonstrate to the universe your unwavering commitment to your vision, and the universe must respond in kind. Chapter 25. The Vision That Serves the Whole. In a small, weathered neighborhood where hope seemed as scarce as resources, Nellie would sit on her porch each morning, seeing not what was, but what could be. While others saw abandoned buildings, she envisioned community gardens. Where others noticed broken windows, she pictured art galleries filled with local talent. You must understand that the highest form of visualization transcends personal gain. When your inner sight extends beyond your own doorstep, you tap into a greater current of universal power. Nellie didn't just imagine her own home restored. She held a vision of every house on her street gleaming with fresh paint and pride. The law of attraction responds with extraordinary force when your desires align with the greater good. Each morning, Nellie would close her eyes and see children playing in safe parks, elderly neighbors tending flourishing gardens, and local businesses thriving. Her vision became a living prayer that encompassed an entire community. Within months, small changes began appearing. One neighbor painted their fence. Another started a weekend reading program. The universe responds to such inclusive visions with multiplied energy. For when you seek to lift others as you rise, you align with the very nature of divine abundance. Across town, Nellie's cousin Rachel opened a healing center with nothing but faith and a vision of service. Unlike many practitioners focused solely on profits, Rachel saw herself as a channel for community wellness. She would visualize her waiting room filled with people from all walks of life, receiving the care they needed, regardless of their means. To her amazement, abundance flowed effortlessly. The more she focused on service rather than self, the more the universe provided. You see, when your vision carries the intention of collective blessing, it activates a higher law of manifestation. Rachel discovered that by holding space for others' healing, her own prosperity was naturally secured. This truth echoes through the ages. What you visualize for the benefit of many returns to you multiplied. When your inner sight extends beyond personal gain to embrace the welfare of others, you align with the universe's natural flow of expansion and abundance. Practice. Expand your vision to include someone else's benefit. Visualize both of you rising together in harmony. See yourself and another soul ascending side by side, your shared success creating ripples of positive change throughout the universe. As you meditate on this image, feel the joy of mutual achievement, knowing that by lifting others, you too are elevated. This ancient practice of collective visualization awakens dormant forces of abundance that flow more freely when channeled through bonds of unity and shared purpose. Chapter 26. Maintain the flame without forcing the fire. In a modest workshop filled with the gentle ticking of timepieces, Otis would light a single candle as twilight descended. Each evening, without fail, he tended this small flame while holding the image of his dream workshop in his mind. Not with force or desperation, but with the same steady patience he applied to his clockwork. You must understand that manifestation flows most freely when you release the grip of anxious wanting. Like the consistent flame of Otis's candle, your vision requires steady nurturing rather than forceful demand. The universe responds not to intensity of desire, but to unwavering certainty carried with gentle faith. Each night, as Otis sat with his flame, he would simply allow the vision to rest in his mind, a spacious workshop filled with rare tools, apprentices learning the craft, and clocks of extraordinary beauty. He never strained to make it real. He simply held it as naturally as breathing, then released it to the care of universal law. Through this practice, you begin to understand that manifestation requires neither struggle nor constant attention. It asks only for your consistent acknowledgement, followed by peaceful release. Like a seed planted in fertile soil, your vision grows not by your worried watching, but by the natural forces that guide all creation. Years later, Otis took on an apprentice named Thomas, who approached visualization with desperate intensity. Thomas would spend hours fixating on his desires, trying to force them into being through sheer mental effort. Yet nothing manifested until Otis taught him the way of the flame, to hold the vision gently, then let it go. As Thomas learned to release his grip on outcomes, watching the candle's flame with quiet attention, his desires began manifesting with surprising ease. You see, the universe works most powerfully when we trust its timing and release our need to control the process. This ancient truth remains. What you tend with gentle consistency, while releasing attachment to outcome, grows naturally into form. The flame reminds us that steady light, not forceful heat, illuminates the path to manifestation. Practice. Light a candle each evening and visualize your desire for 5 minutes. Then release it without expectation. As you gaze upon the dancing flame, let it remind you of the delicate balance between focused intention and gentle surrender. Notice how the flame neither strains nor struggles, yet burns with quiet purpose. In this sacred moment of contemplation, see your desire clearly in your mind's eye, feel it in your heart, then allow it to float away like smoke rising from the candle's tip. Trust that the universe, in its infinite wisdom, will manifest your desire in perfect time, in perfect form. This simple yet profound practice, performed consistently, opens the channels through which abundance naturally flows. Chapter 27. When doubt knocks vision speaks louder. In a small classroom after hours, Alma stood before her empty blackboard, hands trembling as she wrote her vision once again. Day after day, she had visualized her dream of opening a school for underprivileged children. Yet the funding remained elusive. The doors stayed closed, and doubt crept in like shadow at dusk. You must understand that doubt is not your enemy. It is merely the shadow cast by the light of your vision. When Alma's hands shook, when tears threatened to fall, she did not fight the doubt. Instead, she acknowledged it, then spoke her vision louder. The universe operates through unwavering law, not through perfect faith. Your moments of uncertainty do not negate the power of your vision. They simply invite you to choose again and again and again. Each time doubt rises, it offers you the sacred opportunity to reaffirm your truth. For 6 months, Alma continued her daily practice. When fear whispered impossible, she declared her vision. When logic argued unrealistic, She envisioned children filling those empty seats. Through tears, through uncertainty, through apparent failure, she persisted. Then one autumn morning, an unexpected letter arrived. A former student had inherited a fortune and remembered Alma's dream. Within weeks, the funding manifested, the perfect building appeared, and her vision transformed into reality. Among Alma's first students was young Sarah, who carried her own seemingly impossible dream of becoming a doctor despite her family's poverty. When Sarah confided her doubts, Alma shared her secret. Speak your truth, especially when you doubt it most. Sarah began practicing this wisdom. Even as her voice cracked with emotion, even as tears fell, she would declare, I am a healer. I serve with compassion. My path is opening before me. Through her tears, conviction grew stronger. You see, vision work is not about maintaining perfect faith. It is about choosing your truth in the face of doubt. The universe responds not to your moments of uncertainty, but to your persistence in returning to what you know is possible. Practice. Each time doubt arises, speak your vision aloud 3 times with deep conviction and emotion. Let your words ring with the power of your deepest truth, even if your voice trembles. Feel the vibration of each syllable as it moves through you, for in these moments of declaration, you are aligning with the infinite power of the universe. Remember that tears and emotion do not weaken your vision. They are sacred waters that nourish the seeds of your manifestation. Your voice, raised in affirmation despite uncertainty, becomes a bridge between what is and what shall be. Chapter 28. The Power of Collective Visualization. In a small town after the Great War, Harrison gathered with 4 other veterans in the back room of Murphy's General Store. Each man carried wounds both visible and hidden, yet they came together not to remember darkness, but to envision light. Harrison had learned of the power of unified prayer during his darkest moments in the trenches. Every Thursday evening, these men formed a circle, joining hands despite their initial discomfort with such intimacy. They began visualizing healing for young Thomas, whose leg wound had refused to mend. As they held the image of Thomas walking freely, something extraordinary stirred in the room, a tangible force that seemed to pulse through their joined circle. Within 3 weeks, Thomas's wound began healing at a rate that baffled his doctors. The men continued their practice, expanding their visions to include their families, their community, and their own inner peace. Each success strengthened their conviction in the power of unified vision. The teachings speak to an ancient truth. When minds unite in focused intention, they create a spiritual beacon that pierces through the veils of material limitation. Just as many voices joining in song create harmonies impossible for one alone, multiple souls aligning in vision generate a frequency that commands the attention of universal forces. Years later, Harrison's great-niece Catherine discovered his journal detailing these sacred gatherings. Inspired, she began hosting what she called vision dinners in her modest apartment. Every full moon, 7 women would share a simple meal, then spend an hour holding space for each other's deepest dreams. One evening, as they visualized abundance for Sarah, a struggling artist, the room grew thick with possibility. Within days, Sarah received an unexpected commission that launched her career. The group witnessed how their shared focus created a matrix of support. lifting each member higher than they could have risen alone. This truth echoes through the ages. Visualization amplifies in community. When hearts beat as one and minds align in sacred purpose, the universe responds with heightened swiftness and grace. Your visions, when merged with others of similar frequency, create a lighthouse of manifestation that guides miracles to shore. Practice. Organize or join a group visualization session. Choose one shared intention and amplify it together. Gather with kindred spirits in a sacred space, whether physical or virtual, and align your energies toward a unified purpose. Begin with a moment of silence to center yourselves, then let one person voice the collective intention. As you visualize together, imagine golden threads of light connecting each participant, weaving a powerful web of manifestation. Feel how your individual power multiplies exponentially through the group's unified focus. This ancient practice of collective consciousness has moved mountains and manifested miracles throughout history. Now it is your turn to harness this timeless force. Chapter 29. Gratitude as a magnet for manifestation. In a modest kitchen in Vermont, Florence stood at her window each morning, hands clasped in prayer, thanking the universe for gifts yet unseen. While others waited for evidence before offering gratitude, she understood a deeper truth, that thanksgiving is the highest form of faith. "I thank you for the abundance flowing into my life," she would whisper to the dawn, even as bills piled upon her table. "I thank you for the health restored to my body," she affirmed, while still feeling weakness in her limbs. Each declaration of gratitude was offered not from what her eyes could see, but from what her heart knew to be true. When you express gratitude for that which has not yet manifested in the physical realm, you demonstrate absolute trust in the universal law. This act of giving thanks in advance serves as both invitation and confirmation, a divine signal that broadcasts your unwavering faith in the fulfillment of your vision. Gratitude offered before manifestation is the most powerful form of visualization, for it carries the energy of completion. When you thank the universe for something still unseen, you create a vibrational signature that matches the frequency of having already received. This alignment accelerates manifestation, for the universe cannot help but respond to the energy of genuine thanksgiving. In the village where Florence lived, her neighbor Sarah watched this practice with curiosity. Longing for partnership but finding herself alone, Sarah began to thank the universe each evening for the love she knew was coming. "Thank you for my beloved," she would say to the stars, "who fills my days with joy and understanding." Though no suitor had yet appeared, she persisted in her grateful anticipation. Within months, Sarah met a kind-hearted artist at a local gallery, a man who matched the very qualities she had been thanking the universe for providing. Their connection was immediate and deep, as though her advanced gratitude had carved a space in reality for this precise relationship to emerge. This truth remains constant. Gratitude offered in faith becomes the bridge between vision and manifestation. It transforms waiting into active creation, doubt and certainty, and desire into destiny. Your thanksgiving is not merely appreciation, it is a declaration of spiritual law in action. Practice. Each night, give thanks in advance for 3 things you are visualizing. Write them down as if they are already here. Chapter 30. the living oracle. In a small town among rolling hills, Raymond spent his youth listening to his father's sermons about divine truth. Yet it wasn't until he stepped away from the pulpit's shadow that he discovered the deepest truth of all. He was the very power he had been seeking. One morning, as dawn painted the sky in gentle hues, Raymond sat in his usual meditation spot beneath an ancient oak tree. But this time, something shifted. He no longer needed to form pictures in his mind or speak sacred words. In that moment of pure stillness, he simply knew. The truth emanated from his very being. He was not separate from his desires. He was their source. When you reach this level of understanding, visualization becomes unnecessary. You no longer need to build bridges between yourself and what you wish to create. You recognize that you are the creative force itself. This is the ultimate revelation. The power was never in the technique, but in the awakening to your true nature. This truth has been whispered through the ages. You are not merely a creator. You are creation itself. The universe does not grant your wishes. It responds to your essence. When you fully embody this knowing, reality has no choice but to align with your consciousness. Years later, Raymond's niece Sarah discovered this same truth while teaching others about manifestation. During a gathering, she suddenly stopped mid-sentence, smiled, and said, "We've been trying so hard to become something we already are." The room fell silent as her words touched a deep chord of recognition in everyone present. What Sarah understood was that all techniques, even visualization, are simply doorways leading to this singular realization. You are the oracle. You are the power you've been seeking. When you know this in your bones, you no longer need to ask or wait or hope. You simply are, and in that being, all things become possible. This is not about reaching a destination or achieving a certain state. It is about remembering what has always been true. The ancient mystics spoke of this, though few were ready to hear. You are not learning to create. You are remembering that you are creation itself. Practice. Declare aloud, "I am the eternal truth. I do not wait. I create." Then sit in silence for 5 minutes, embodying that energy. Conclusion. Through these ancient teachings, you have awakened to a truth that has whispered through the corridors of time. Visualization is not merely a practice, but the very essence of your divine nature. What began as an exploration of mental imagery has revealed itself as the remembrance of your inherent creative power. The universe does not distinguish between what you see with your physical eyes and what you hold steadfast in your inner vision. Both are equally real, equally potent, equally commanding of universal forces. You have discovered that visualization is not about reaching for what you lack, but recognizing what already exists within your consciousness. This wisdom was never meant to remain as mere knowledge in your mind. It was destined to transform into the very frequency of your being. You no longer need to strain or struggle to hold your visions. They have become the natural emanation of who you are. Like the sun that does not effort to shine, your creative power now flows effortlessly from your awakened consciousness. The journey from seeker to seer is complete. You stand now as one who knows, not through intellectual understanding but through lived experience, that the universe mirrors back what you hold as truth within. This is not about manifesting desires. It is about remembering your role as a co-creator with the divine. Let your visions arise not from want, but from the quiet certainty of your soul's knowing. The universe responds not to what you wish for, but to what you are. You have become the oracle of your own existence, speaking in the language of pure creation. Go forth now, not as one who must prove these principles, but as one who embodies them. Your presence alone is a command to universal forces, not through force or will, but through the natural authority of one who knows their true nature. This is the mastery you were born to remember. Practice. Sit in absolute stillness for 20 minutes. Make no effort to visualize or create. Simply be the truth you have remembered. Let your presence alone command the universal forces. Your journey doesn't end here. Click on this next audiobook that I promise will completely transform your perspective.